Hello guys, welcome back. In this lesson, we will get to know our second group existing out of 6 letters. In our previous lesson, we learned that we have to connect letters in order to create words in Arabic. The letters of this group have in common that they do connect from the right side, but never connect from the left side, even when they are part of a word. Let's have a look. Our first letter is Alif. This letter represents A. Our next one, Dal. This letter represents D. Our third letter is Dal. This letter represents the. This one looks very similar to Dal. The only difference is that we have to add a dot on top. Our next letter, Ra. This letter represents R. Next one, Zain. This letter represents Z. Also, this one is very similar to the previous one. The only difference is that we have to add a dot on top. And our last letter, Wow. This letter represents a W or the U sound. Alright, let's find out how to write these letters in the initial, middle and ending form. Let's start with Alif. Just like the letters of group 1, we start with the letter, but we don't add a helping line to the left. In the middle form, we start with a helping line from the right, go up, and that's it. No helping line to the left. And in the ending form, just like the middle form, we start with a helping line from the right, go up, and that's it. Next one, Dal. The same way as before, we write Dal just like we wrote it in the isolated form. There is no helping line to the left. In the middle, we start with a helping line from the right and write Dal. And now exactly the same for the ending form, a helping line from the right, and we add Dal in its isolated form. Dal is written the exact same way in all forms. The only difference is that we have to add a dot on top. Alright, let's have a look at our fourth letter, Ra. Just like all letters of this group, the initial form is exactly the same as the isolated form. Ra in the middle, we start with a small helping line from the right and add the isolated form to it. And again, just like all other letters, the ending form is the same as the middle form since there are no letters to come afterwards. Just like Dal and Dal, Zain is written the exact same way as Ra. The only difference is that we have to add a dot on top. And now our last letter, Wow. Wow in the initial form looks the same as Wow in the isolated form. Nothing to add. In the middle form, we start with a small helping line from the right and add Wow in its isolated form to it. And last but not least, we start with a small helping line from the right and add Wow in its isolated form to it. I think this is quite an easy group. They all have in common that they don't connect with other letters on the left side. These are also the only ones. All other letters of the alphabet can be connected from both the right and the left side. Alright, let's try to form a word with these letters. Since we covered 6 more letters today, we are able to create many more words in Arabic. So, today's word is minister, wazir. To form these words, we need Wow, Zain, Ya, and Ra. So, we start with Wow. We write it in the initial form, and as we have covered in this lesson, there is no helping line to the left. Thereafter Zain. We write it in the middle form, but since there is no helping line from the right, it looks like it's the initial form. Alright? Thereafter we have Ya. We write it in the middle form, but again, since Zain doesn't have a helping line to the left, there is no helping line from the right. So we write Ya in the initial form, and thereafter the last letter, Ra, with a small helping line from the right and the Ra in its isolated form. Alright, this was everything regarding our second group. You have learned 11 letters so far. I hope everything is clear, and we will see each other in our next lesson.